Well, great. Try again. Okay, ready?
Well, and obviously it has so I got it. Yeah, well, maybe it's my son. Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing?
Well, what a beautiful day in Morgan County. It's such a great time to come back up to the Eastern Panhandle. So thank you all for being here. I love this park, and fortunately, I've been able to come up here quite a bit over the years. And I just think this is one of the many gems that the state of West Virginia has to offer. And I do hope if we have a little bit of time, we're going to check and see this, that beyond the purpose of coming up here today to sign some new legislation into law, we're going to try to do another Mountaineer Mile. I think today is day 29. Fortunately, 28 straight days we've been able to do it. You may not be seeing it in the final product yet, but all in good time. At least we're busy working, and I think that the Mountaineer Mile is great for everyone because it's a terrific way for everyone to stay in shape. I see a lot of friendly faces here, and which is terrific. And I want to start by thanking all the law enforcement, all the elected officials, and all the people who came here. I always say it's really special for me to come back to the Eastern Panhandle. I always tell people my blood pumps just a little bit faster when I come back here, and I really love it. I'm fortunate today to be joined by a lot of wonderful supporters and leaders in the House of Delegates and in the state Senate. I want to point out Senator Darren Thorne for being here. Thanks so much. He's done a great job down there. We have Delegate Coop Gonzalez. Where are you? There he is. I'll tell you what, good young man, great leader for the future. We got Delegate Horst. Where's Chuck? There you go. Excellent. We have Delegate Hillebrand. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming out. I know we have, is that Ian over there? I see it's Ian Masters. What a great appointment, huh? He's done a terrific job. We have Chris Phillips. Chris, thanks for coming out here. He's a wonderful leader. He's done a great job at Government Org, and there have been a lot of big Government Org bills, and I think he's one of the true leaders of the House, so I'm glad you're here. I had listed Delegate Tom Clark is here. Is Tom Clark here? I don't know that he's here. Delegate Ridenauer. This is my delegate from Jefferson County. Thank you, Bill, for all of your good work. All right. We got Delegate Michael Height. Michael Height, nice to see you. Absolutely. And I think where's it? I'm looking around here. I see George Miller. I don't see Gary Howell. He was supposed to be here. I see Delegate Lisa White, right? Nice to see you. She's doing a great job as well. All right. Well, we're here today, and we're celebrating freedom and our constitutional rights. What could be better than to be in a beautiful state park and celebrate freedom? In West Virginia, we have a long history of fighting for freedom. And for evidence of this, we need look no further than the founding of our great state. We know that West Virginia sought statehood from President Lincoln, mainly due to the injustice of slavery. We know that we have an amazing state motto: mountaineers are always free. We should think about that every single day. We're very fortunate to be West Virginians. West Virginians have always recognized that our freedoms are given to us by God, not the government. And it's our job as elected officials to safeguard these liberties at all costs. We are free here in West Virginia, trying to become freer every day, and by God, I plan to keep it that way. Now, in recent years, many on the far left, they've tried to strip away our Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms. And let me tell you, the left, they're very aggressive. They're going to keep coming at us every single day to try to take away your firearms, restrict your rights. But I think many of us here today, we've learned about their schemes, and we've been able to be proactive in West Virginia against them. In fact, as many of you know, as Attorney General, I led the way on a lot of major coalitions to push back against the far left. And arguably, we did more in that state AG office to protect your gun rights than virtually any state AG in the country. And I was proud of that fact. And I know that as I transition from AG to governor, I can tell you that my goal is to always stay one step ahead of the radical gun grabbers and the big government elites. That's why today I'm really proud we get to sign not one, not two, but 3 pro-Second Amendment right bills that protect your liberties. Pretty amazing. Now, we know one of the major pushes from the far left has been an attempt to sue gun manufacturers for the actions of criminals. That's wrong. And that's why I'm very proud to sign House Bill 2067 into law to ensure that firearm companies are not unfairly held liable for the actions of those who use their products. Another tactic from the left, subject of our second bill, is pressuring big financial institutions to debank companies who are in the firearm business. We are not going to let that happen in West Virginia. That's why I'm proud to sign House Bill 3342 today, which will prohibit banks from discriminating against a firearm entity or a firearm trade association. The third bill goes back to the pandemic, and we all knew what it was like when the government stripped away our rights from us. I want to say never again. Now, our gun rights were not affected during COVID because of practices that were made, but that shouldn't be left to a governor. That should be embedded in law. We did see other states try to use states of emergency and other scare tactics impacting guns or other rights from citizens. I want to make sure that never happens in West Virginia, regardless who's in the legislature or the governor's mansion. See, this is good. We're taking power away from ourselves and giving it back to the people. That's the goal. That's what we're all trying to do. So I'm proud today, the third bill, to sign Senate Bill 270. By the way, Delegate Funkhauser is here. I'm sorry. Your name wasn't in the list. I appreciate you being here. I'm proud to sign Senate Bill 270, which prohibits the government from suspending your gun rights during declared emergencies or disaster responses. You know, in today's political climate, we're going to have to stay vigilant against all attacks on our Second Amendment rights and our Constitution in general. I think about that every single day, right? We need to do that. Thank you for coming. As governor, I pledge to fight for your freedoms and safeguard your rights. And I want to thank the legislature and all the people that work to get them here for your efforts to pass these bills. Thank you. Now, I'm fortunate to hear from one of the main sponsors of these bills and a terrific young leader for our state. Does a great job representing parts of Randolph County and other areas. I'm so proud of him to call him my friend. Let me bring up to the stage Delegate Coop Gonzalez. Come on up. Hey, buddy. Come on up.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you everyone for coming. I'm so thankful to have all of you here, and I'm so thankful to be part of a state that really values their Second Amendment. That's a very, very important right that really so many other people in the world don't have. And I want to go into kind of just a neat little story about how this bill came about. It's sort of an unusual background, but many of you know that I am a gun nut, maybe kind of a nut in general, but I watch gun videos on YouTube all the time about gunsmithing, the history of guns, different types of guns, things like that. And by far my favorite gun YouTube channel is called TFB TV, and TFB stands for the Firearm Blog. They've got 1.5 million subscribers. They have a really big audience. And I've been watching them for about 6 or 7 years. And one day I saw this video posted called Why Daniel Defense is in Trouble. And for those of you who don't know, Daniel Defense is a very large AR-15 manufacturer, and they actually arguably produce the best AR-15s in the world. So Navy SEALs, I'm sure you've heard of them, they use Daniel Defense AR-15s, right? Their rifle is their most important piece of equipment, and they contract with Daniel Defense in Black Creek, Georgia, to make their AR-15s. So Daniel Defense it was started by Marty Daniel, a very good Christian man, very in favor of the Second Amendment. He also sells his product to law-abiding citizens like the people here today. And so this video on TFB TV that I was watching on YouTube said, why is Daniel Defense in trouble? And it talked about this lawsuit happening in Texas. And it was done in a very similar way that another lawsuit had been done about 12 years prior in Connecticut. And in that lawsuit, in the state of Connecticut, they put 2 gun manufacturers out of business. They put Bushmaster out of business. They're the ones that produced the AR-15 that was tragically used in the Sandy Hook shooting. And then the parent company of Bushmaster, Remington, wasn't able to absorb the cost of Bushmaster going down. So they went out of business as well. And they owned a gun factory that at that time had been the oldest one in the continental United States. It shut down forever. And the way that this was done was in 2005, just to give a little bit more context, there was a federal law passed called the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. And this is the law that protects gun manufacturers from being sued. Now, it's got one exception called the predicate exemption, which says that if a firearms manufacturer knowingly and willfully violates a state law, then they can be sued, right? Pretty reasonable. That's the one exception for them being sued. And what they did in this court in Connecticut, this civil case, they argued that because of marketing claims, that somehow that was directly the result or the impetus for what happened at Sandy Hook. And that was ridiculous. And the law that they said that they knowingly and willfully broke was under the Unfair Trade Practices Act. And it was a law that was completely oriented towards other consumer goods, had nothing to do with the Second Amendment, but somehow they wiggled their way in and then slapped a $70 million fine that put a large gun manufacturer out of business. So in this video, I watched this and I heard all that and I thought, wow, that's pretty frightening. And for 12 years, this is something that at the federal level has not been dealt with. But I thought, why don't we limit that liability at the state level? So I reached out to the lead host of TFB TV, James Reeves, who happens to be a lawyer, by the way. And he gave me a call back, which was really, really cool because this is a guy I've been watching for years. To me, he's like a celebrity. So when he gave me a phone call, I got all giddy and excited. It's kind of like, I'm sure when President Trump calls you, you're probably, not even just the first time, like anytime he calls, I'm sure it's a cool experience. So James and I, we corresponded for about 9 months putting this bill together. I talked to Ian Masters, who at the time was with WVCDL. Now he's a member of the House of Delegates with me. And thank you for your help in pushing this bill along. And then we've got a couple of sponsors. Chuck Hurst is a sponsor, and Rick Hillenbrand as well. Thank you for your support. So we got this bill through. And I want to see this bill go to other states. As soon as we filed our bill, Montana, they copied our bill and they started running it. I don't know what the status of their legislation is. Kentucky has shown interest in running this bill now. And I would like to see this go eventually to the federal level to fix this issue. And it all started in West Virginia. It all started with us. And I want to thank Senate President Randy Smith for his help, Speaker Hanshaw, and lastly, our wonderful, wonderful Governor, Patrick Morrisey. Thank you for signing this important bill today.
Absolutely. Thank you. What an articulate man, and someone who really has done a great job for the citizens of his district and the state. I know I'm very fortunate. A little bit later on, I'm going to go down. I'll spend a little bit of time in Berkeley Springs. And then later on, I'll be down in Berkeley County. And I get to sleep in my own bed in Jefferson County again tonight, which is always a pleasure. I know George Miller, I'm not sure if I mentioned you earlier, another good man. So thank you, George, for all your help. So we're going to step over for a moment and we're going to sign these bills. But before I do, I want to build on something that we talked about in recent weeks. Now, we're here today to protect our freedoms. But we have a lot of goals here in West Virginia. We have an amazing state with people who are ready to lead on the national level. And what I mean by that is that West Virginia has a chance to have truly transformational change that moves the needle on all the things that matter in terms of our standard of living, in terms of our educational attainment, in terms of having West Virginia be truly that shining state in the mountains. One of the areas I've talked a lot about is making sure that we're getting healthier as a state and tackling the obesity and the diabetes and all the challenges in the healthcare arena that we have. So while we're here at a state park, we thought it'd be only appropriate to continue our walking because we have designated Mountaineer Miles in every single one. We have 32 state parks right now where we've put these Mountaineer Mile markers, and I'm excited about it. We were down in Little Beaver State Park last week, christening the program, and I wanted to make sure we did it again today. So I'm going to invite all of you, after all this is over, maybe come out and walk for a mile and let everyone know about the beautiful state parks that we have. West Virginia is the envy of America because we're so beautiful. We're so incredible. Talk about that a lot. And I'd like to ensure that we have Mountaineer Miles going in every county across West Virginia. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I've always said, I'll be the first to tell you, I know I could shed a few pounds, so I'm not going to run away from that. Maybe, just maybe, that could provide a good example for others. I promise you, I know how hard it is. And while I've been walking a lot, you know, the pounds take a little longer to come out. But we're going to work at it. And so I'm glad we're here today in a state park. We get to show off. And I'll end on this note. We talk a lot about the backyard brawl and how we have to compete better against all the states that we touch, right? In terms of having a lower income tax than any state around us, to be able to cut more red tape than any state around us, to have better rules on licensing. We did that this session. Didn't get as much attention. Really, really good bill. Permitting rules. There's so many opportunities for us. But let's make sure we don't forget where West Virginia kicks our neighbors' butts. That's in our state parks. We have the best state parks of all the states that we touch, and I want to let everyone know that. We want everyone to come on out, spend a little bit of time, and this is just one of the many gems we have across West Virginia. So I wanted to mention that. I hope some of you brought your walking shoes. We'll go for a walk, and I want to say thank you. And now it's time to sign these bills. All right? Anyone want to come on up? Coop? Anyone? All right. A couple bugs out today, huh?
Yeah.
Extra protein.
Good to see you, Morrisey. How are you? All right. You guys ready? All right, let's get started here. Start by 3342. All right. Let's say the 25th, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is House Bill 2067. And finally, Senate Bill 270. See what we can do here. Get the hold one up. Get the hold one up. Open it up for everyone. 3 good bills. What great leadership. And this just continues the tradition of West Virginia being the most pro-Second Amendment state in the nation. Thank you, and God bless. Hey, Alex, how you doing? All right.
I echo what the governor said. Very well
Are
spoken.
you guys ready to walk?
Debated whether I wanted to
Memorize that or extemporaneous?
That one was actually extemporaneous.
We're gonna get more pens
Thank
for
you.
everyone.
I appreciate it.
So, but I want to give one, but we'll get pens out for everyone.
I appreciate it.